Hello, I'm going to give you a brief overview of how to use Office Mix. Many of you have asked me about this, so I'm just going to give you a quick preview. So I'm here in PowerPoint, and specifically I am in PowerPoint 2013 on the PC. So that's what I'm working in right now. Remember that Office Mix right now can only be used with the PC. So you might have to work in the lab or borrow a friend's computer or talk to Riley about getting your machine partitioned, which is not as scary as it sounds. All right, so what you'll notice first of all is that I'm just working with a regular PowerPoint. So this is, we could pretend it's a PowerPoint that I already had sitting around, okay? So you don't have to do anything special as far as making the PowerPoint. I did want to show you that PowerPoint 2013 has added back the ability to add YouTube videos, which we did not have before. So I'm going to delete this and show you how I did it. So I happen to be working on the slide. If I go to my home ribbon and choose a layout, I'm working with the title and content layout, okay? So one of my options on the layouts, or on the content down here, is to insert video. Can you see me down there? Right there, insert video. So if I click on that, I can find a file on my computer, or I can go and search YouTube, which is awesome. The third option here is to use a video embed code. So if you're pulling a video from another website and you're able to get an embed code from that, then you can actually put that in here too. And if you need help with that, let me know. But I can just go ahead and search YouTube for Piaget Cognitive Development. And right there is the video that I've wanted my students to watch in preparation for class today. So I'm going to pop that right into my PowerPoint, and then my students are going to be able to watch that right in the PowerPoint, which is awesome. All right, so I've got some great content here where I'm teaching my students information. And remember that the idea for the most part with an Office Mix versus a regular PowerPoint is that I'm going to have my students do this outside of class, not inside of class, okay? Because a lot of the utilities here, what they're doing are allowing me to kind of flip my classroom. I can teach some of the concepts outside of class, have them do some knowledge checks as part of the Office Mix, and then they come to class all ready to do stuff, which is great. So that's how I'm using it this semester. All right, so if I come back here to this slide, this is not going to teach my students much information, right? They're going to come here and be like, Piaget's process of adaptation and a bunch of vocab. This is not helpful. So I'm going to take you up into, if we come up to our ribbon, and we're going to come all the way over to the Mix tab. Now, if you don't have this, it means you need to install it. And again, you can get Riley to help you with that if you need. Otherwise, you can just Google Office Mix, and you should be able to download and install that fairly simply. So I'm going to click on Mix, and you'll see that we have a bunch of options available to us here. So on this particular slide, I would want to do a slide recording. And what the slide recording does is it allows me to record what's happening on this slide. So you can see it's already using my microphone. If I want to be really bold, I can actually use my camera. Hi guys. So I can use my camera, and that would be put into the presentation here so my students could see me if I wanted them to, or I can turn that back off. And then I can also write on my slides as I go. Okay, so what this slide recording does is it allows me to teach them myself right on this slide. So I would just hit record, and I could do my little lecture. So the process of adaptation is the key to cognitive development. And what happens is we see something new. So let's say that a little girl is walking with her mom and she sees a cat. Check out my mad drawing skills. They're awesome. Okay, she sees a cat, and this is the first time she's ever seen a cat before. So because of that, she's going to experience some serious disequilibrium. So her mind's going, what? What is going on? Then she's going to have to either assimilate or accommodate. So if she were to assimilate, because she's never seen a cat before, she might say, hey, look, it's a dog, because that's the only schema that she has. And then her mom might say to her, no, no, honey, that's not a dog, that's a kitty. And now the little girl is having to accommodate. She's having to come up with new schema to fit this new idea that has caused her disequilibrium. And by doing that, she's able to reach a state of, sorry, I got stuck, of equilibrium. So when I'm all done with that, I click stop, and that saves all of this interaction for my students. So when they come back to this slide, they're going to be able to see all of what I just did and hear my voice doing it. Okay, so in effect, I've gone through, you can see the little speaker icon up here, you can see these graphics. The student will be able to go through this and hear my voice explaining all of that along with my cheesy drawings. Okay, so that is the slide recording option. All right, so now I've taught them all about the process of adaptation, and I want to check to make sure they understood it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my Home tab at the very top, and I'm going to put in a new slide. And you can choose whether you want to put a title at the top of this slide or to just leave it blank. I tend to just do blank ones, but you could do a title and say, check your understanding or something. So what I'm going to do here is go back up to my Mix tab, and then I'm going to go into Quizzes, Videos, and Apps. All right, now if this is the first time you've used Microsoft Mix or Office Mix, it's probably going to default you to My Apps right here. And you probably don't have any because you've never used any of these before. So you're going to click on Store. Don't worry, it's not going to make you buy anything. And then you're going to see all the options that are available to you here. Okay, so let's say I want to check my students' understanding using a multiple choice quiz. I'm going to click on that one, trust it, because it's made by Microsoft. And then here's my interface. So I can create a regular old multiple choice with just one answer. I can create a multiple answer one, so, you know, a choose all that apply kind of a question. I can have it shuffle the answers so everybody gets a slightly different order on the answer options. I can choose to allow the students to retry it, so if they get it wrong the first time, they can get a second chance. And then I can limit the attempts and say how many I want them to be limited to. Okay? All right, so we type in our question, so maybe we say, when the girl saw the cat, she experienced which of the following? And then we come down to our answer options and we type in our possibilities. I'm just going to do an abbreviated version here because I think you guys get the gist, and I will try to spell words right. All right, over here on the right, we can decide which answer is correct. We can also give feedback for the correct and incorrect options, which is a great thing. And if we mess something up, we can trash those. So then we can click Preview. And this is what the question will look like to the students. So if they choose disequilibrium and submit, correct, good job. All right, so that's a really easy way to check the students' understanding. Now, for the most part, the way I'm using this, I'm just letting my students check their own understanding. But if you'll notice, there's actually a Microsoft or an Office Mix button in Canvas now over on the left-hand side. So you can actually integrate your Mix content into Canvas. And from what I understand, you can have it go into your gradebook and stuff. So you may need a little bit of help with that from the Innovation Center. That's not something I've tried, but I'm certainly happy to explore it with people if you'd like. Okay. All right, so then they go through and they watch this video, and the video teaches them about the stages of Piaget's theory. So I want to show you this process again, just so you get comfortable with it. We're going to go to Home, New Slide, and then either the title only or the blank slide. Then we're going to go to Mix, Quizzes, Videos, and Apps, and set up our question. So this time I'll do an open response, so they type in their response. Okay, and I would expect my students to type in sensory motor. Now, this is one where if I'm not grading it, if it's not coming into my gradebook or anything, or my students aren't signed in, it's really just a good thing for brainstorming for the students because they're not going to get any feedback. I can show you. If they type in their answer, click submit, it's just going to say submitted. Okay, so it's not super valuable as far as giving the students feedback in this particular case, but it would allow them to brainstorm ideas. What are some ways you could apply this in your classroom, kinds of things. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put in another blank slide because I just want to show you a couple of other things that you could do in Mix. And if we go back to our Mix tab, you'll see some other options here. So screen recording is another option. I'm just going to talk about this one for a second. Screen recording allows us to go to another website. So let's say I'm going to have them go to Canvas and change their notification preferences. So I could actually do that all right here and do a screen recording showing them, okay, log into Canvas. Now go to the right corner and click on your profile and then go into notifications. And I could do all of that and record it right here as part of my Mix, okay? Same type of thing with the screenshot. So there are lots of ways to create screenshots. Using the utility inside of Mix just means that it's going to put it right into your PowerPoint, so it saves you a step. So that would allow you to take a picture of anything, you know, on the web or a file on your computer or whatever. Okay. Insert audio and video. Those are the same as the tools we've seen before in PowerPoint. Nothing new here. Okay. Last thing I want to show you, I'm going to go back into quizzes, videos, and apps because there's some pretty neat stuff in here. We've seen the quiz and poll utilities. You can play around with those. If you scroll down though, you'll see these videos and apps. Some of these are familiar to you, so you can actually bring in Khan Academy content straight into your Office Mixes. That's pretty amazing. Some of these though you've probably never heard of before. So Python, Touch Develop, and Code Hunt, those are all coding utilities that would help kids learn computer science. So some of you may be interested in exploring how you might use those. Some of you are definitely going to be interested in the rest of these options. So we've got some CK to 12 resources for both math and science, which are awesome. The PhET simulations were created out in Colorado and have got some really great things, again, for math and science that are simulations that the kids can actually interact with. And what I'm trying to emphasize to you here is that these live within the PowerPoint. So we're not sending students out to a bunch of different websites. They're just here for the kids to use and interact with. GeoGebra is another really good example for that. GeoGebra is a fantastic product that does a ton of things, and we can just have it live right in this PowerPoint as part of our lesson. The last one is the web viewer, and this I've used in a different piece of software. I've never used it in Mix before, but the power here is really cool. So what I can do is right in the middle of my PowerPoint, I can put in a link. I could just leave the Wikipedia one, but I can put in a link to something else, like Padlet. And I'm going to preview that. And now you can see the Padlet site is actually living and it's live. See that as I mouse over it? It is living within my PowerPoint slide. So if I wanted my students to come into Padlet and build a Padlet and blah, 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 that's all right here. Okay? So that's what's really cool about Mix, is that everything becomes part of your PowerPoint. It's not a separate thing. The last step, and you guys can go back and review this video and rewind and pause and do all you want, but the last step is that you do have to upload it to Mix. So if you click on Upload to Mix, it's got these steps over here, and you're going to need your login information for that. This may log me right in. It did. So you've got a special login for that, and if you want to know what yours is, let me or Riley know, and we'll help you out with it. But once you're logged in, it takes you a few minutes to get it all set up. It's really pretty quick if the internet's cooperating that day. And then once it's all done, we click on Show Me My Mix, and that's going to take me to where this lives in the cloud. So what that enables me to do is then send the link to my students, see, Show Me My Mix, and it's going to take me to the web, Internet Explorer. I can give it a title and a description and categories and all kinds of stuff. I always turn my permissions up to unlisted so that anybody can see it. And I also always change my license to Creative Commons so that anybody can use it. But right over here is the link. So I just give my students that link and they can come in and use this to learn in preparation for my class. So I hope that this has been useful to all of you. I know this is kind of a long video, but hopefully it's productive in teaching you how to use Office Mix.